Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of Roll20 Presents The Burning Wheel. How is everyone today? How are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great also. Thank you for asking me.
I'm dying.
This feels very weirdly scripted.
Yeah, let's be really overly formal. So, hello everyone. I like how that I just mimicked a mic. I have a microphone in front of me.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, and welcome to today's episode. On today's episode, we've got an opinion piece by Andrew, who's playing the witch. Andrew, tell us, what do you think about stuff?
Well, Adam, I think that stuff is overrepresented in media and that it's time for us to move on to establish new tropes and new genres.
Dave, as a fan of things, counterpoint?
Yes.
Chilling insights from Dave the Human. Well, good to see you're all as weird as usual. Blue Jay, thank you for attending today's show, despite dying and also having the world aflame around you. It's not quite so bad up here, but I hear it's hot city down there. The sun seems to be descending upon the earth in a terrible burning fire.
Yeah, everything is red and smoky, and the ash is falling from the sky.
Perfect backdrop for Burning Wheel.
Say, so maybe we should be opening our brains to the maelstrom instead. Yeah, it's been hot stuff up here too. But yeah, thanks for coming despite not feeling so hot. It's gonna be just duel of wits, one after another, the whole session. So get ready.
Every scene will involve Blue Jay. I mean, I am also feeling like hot trash.
Are
So
you? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you both look great.
Joy
so.
and Miro heavy episode.
Oh, it's gonna be good. Oh dear. Agatha and Alessandra spend the episode sulking after their duel of wits from the last episode, leaving our new gorilla man and Joy the shit disturber to cause trouble. So
Whoa.
today, yeah, just so that everybody's aware, today we're going to try out a new, slightly longer timeline for the episode. We're gonna do 5 hours today, so we get an extra 50 odd minutes to burn the wheel. So that should be fun. We're gonna go to 4 o'clock today instead of 3. If you're in Pacific time. If you're watching this on YouTube, I don't even know what time it is. And then tomorrow, Friday, we are going to be premiering the Roll20 version of Tomb of Annihilation, Wizards of the Coast Tomb of Annihilation. It's a new adventure module for D&D, but we're going to be playing that, and mark your books, though that's an antiquated term. There's no book or mark. Go over to this website and Control D on your keyboard. We're going to be playing that at twitch.tv/D&D. Now we'll host it here in case you forget, but that'll be a thing that's going to happen tomorrow. So yeah, cool. But today we have the hot circle. Today we have returned to the hot circle. So let's get acquainted once more with the beliefs, instincts, and traits of our merry band of apocalyptic fuck-ups. How about Elf? How about you start?
Oh, okay. So just the regular order then.
Listen,
Okay,
all right.
so my beliefs are Joy's beliefs are. My beliefs are different, but Joy's beliefs
Are they though?
No. Magus Diptera has made an enemy. I'll find something to use against him. I need a gotta to interpret my dreams. I'll find a way to make her trust me. And the new belief, underestimated at every turn. I'll show them. I'll get my hands on a proper weapon.
Good stuff. That's gonna go great. You know what the punishment for stealing weapons is in this kingdom?
I don't know.
Getting your hand cut off.
No, the whole arm. Whole arm.
It's the whole
clearly.
thing, just right at the shoulder.
All right.
I'm really
And then-
excited.
Maybe just at the you get a little stub.
my instincts are, when anyone speaks of God, laugh. Always keep a knife where no one can see it, and confront every boast with an ugly truth. Character traits are off-kilter and scapegoat. Die traits are broken, numb, dreamer, and the newly added lame. Call-on traits are aura of innocence and keen taste. And the character traits I get from my culture are Ashen, Somber, and Eldritch for being a Stygian.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That sounds great. Cool. Agatha, let's hear about, because basically everyone earned a persona last time, so there should be at least, or not at least one, but probably one new belief for everybody. So, or at least a modified one. What's your belief, instinct, and trait situation looking like?
I must ensure my position at court is secure. I'll find the cause of this winter curse for the king one day. Having a full understanding of Alessandra's character, perhaps it is time to form a new understanding of the queen. She may be a more fitting candidate. That raving monk has some connection to this cursed winter. I will discover his secrets. My instincts are always speak truth to power, never put something back in the wrong place, and never let a trespass go unpunished. And I am always in the way, well-traveled, spooky, inscrutable, respectful of women, lupine, reclusive, misunderstood, fey-blooded, blind, gifted, spirit familiar, essence of earth, exhausted, and forked-tongued. So exhausted is my trait I took from our botched healing recovery business. And it's -1 to speed. So
Nice.
my maximum speed is reduced.
So it's the same
well
as
my
me, but
trait.
mine's forever.
Mine is also well, I guess it could be voted away. I mean, yeah, you could get your trait voted away as long as you don't act lame all the time, Elf.
That's true.
Yeah, the trait can be you can be free of it, but the penalty stays.
Yeah, of course.
So you'd almost not want to get rid of it, because the trait is what'll get you Artha. But you can't ignore it, certainly. Okay. Cool. Let's check in with four-time Duel of Wits winner and sad sack Lady Alessandra Corvidae. How's your belief, instinct, and trait looking?
My beliefs are: keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I must gain the queen's confidence.
That's gonna be a queen-heavy episode, isn't it?
The king has said that he will handle things. I must learn of his plans. Lady Tabitha Volpa should not be underestimated. I must find out what she knows of me. My instincts are, and the last one I need to fix, but I haven't thought of anything. When I meet someone new, ingratiate myself to them. Always redirect violence away from my person. And whenever I'm alone, sing to myself. Because it's just not useful to me at all. My character traits are your lordship, ambitious, well-dressed, independent, cosmopolitan, raven-haired, mark of privilege, and rapier wit.
Excellent. I like that.
Help me with an instinct.
I like that the one instinct that shows like some softness or like humanity to Alessandra, you're like, just fucking burn it to the ground, get it out of here.
It hasn't come up at all. Like,
no, I know. I love that.
The show requires that we interact with people, so anything that requires for me to be alone is unuseful.
Yeah, I mean, you could change it to because we haven't seen it on screen, right? So I like Trist's suggestion. When I suspect a duel of wits is about to happen, punch my interlocutor in the throat.
Oh, that's so good.
When anyone tries to sass me, backhand them.
Doing it.
You could have an instinct. We haven't seen the trigger. We haven't seen this one in play yet. So you could say, like, whenever I am, it could be a reaction to something else, right? Like whenever I am stressed out or whenever I am upset, hum to myself or something like that.
When I am aroused, hum to myself.
Whenever I'm lying.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Sure.
Oh God, yeah, having like a tick for when you're lying. Would be an
I mean, you don't
instinct.
have Alessandra doesn't have the falsehood skill though, right?
I've almost got it.
So like, she's not about lying.
She's been practicing at it.
I've been practicing.
Yep. Well, that's the thing you can do, right? Like you can practice every skill with time, like downtime, which is so great. Like, how do you practice lying? I don't know. I just go around lying to people to see if I can get away with it. Just little lies.
Look in the mirror and tell lies.
Yeah.
To yourself.
That's The Sims.
Yeah, you just do it like The Sims. You just talk in the mirror.
That's how it works. Totally. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want as an instinct? Let's workshop this. Let's help Blue Jay come up with a
I want fate points, Adam. That's what I want in an instinct.
Which
yeah.
means that it
We
has to
want
be
an-
something. It has to
an
be something
instinct that'll
that
get her into
cause
trouble.
cause you problems.
Yeah.
That's how you get the fate off of it, right? It has to be.
Yeah,
troublesome.
did your
Yeah.
instinct put you in an uncomfortable position? Did it did it set you in a unexpected direction? And the way you write them is like an if then, always, never, that sort of thing.
So I have a thought,
Mm.
which is that Alessandra is a very prideful character. Clearly, she thinks she deserves to be the queen. That's kind
Mhm.
of shit. Having something that is about how her pride gets her in trouble, like not
Mm.
like a reaction to people slighting you that might be problematic, or
Or like a way you always treat people you perceive as less.
yeah, like something to express a certain arrogance.
Yeah, I mean the other side of instincts too is using them to avoid having to deal with bullshit in game, right? The ability to just say like I already did this thing, or I would have already done that, or
I
I
always
do
have
it.
a thing, yeah. Or
Yeah.
Like always have a gift when I go to meet with someone, or
Mm.
So I'm wondering if something along the lines of, because let's be honest, you argue with people quite a lot.
Evidently.
I think it goes with both the pride and also with your rapier wit to always have the last word.
Mm.
You just never let things drop. You always perpetuate arguments, and you always the last word's always going to be like something biting, presumably. So that would be quite fun, I think.
Yeah, I'll try that one and see how it goes. Cause yeah, it brings in the pride thing. It can tie into like not letting someone insult me or my house or whatever. And
or
it
when
also-
the king acts the fool and is like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of it." You can be like, "No, you won't. You suck. You're a butt."
and it could also be like I don't know if it's always literally have the last word, but like you're not just gonna like this isn't ending here, right? Like you might think it is, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a belief in there as well in the idea of like it's over when I say it's over. Right?
Yeah,
The
definitely
instinct
case.
the instinct is always get the last word in. So if someone is like, "Very well, Lady Corvidae, you are dismissed," you're like, "I'm not dismissed. I'm leaving." Right? Like obviously, like your character wouldn't be a joke
Not
in that
that
regard,
obvious.
but you know what I mean. Like it's about feeling like you got to decide the end of the conversation, not somebody else.
Okay, we'll try that out. Always have the last word.
All right, sounds good. Cool. All right, did we get your traits, or did we stop on
Yeah.
instincts? Yeah, we got
Yeah,
them.
we
Okay. All right, cool. Speaking of weirdos with traits, Brother Miro, what's your beliefs, instincts, and traits?
And it's me, not very different from the last time, only updated the one that we finished. So, first belief, I cannot allow my vision of the future to come to pass. Reza, Agatha, and her heretic companions must be stopped. I'll track down the angel to better protect them. I wish to rekindle the spirits of the people. My uncle's connections will afford me an audience of influential people to whom I will preach, which we set up last time. Alessandra's blasphemy is disappointing and distressing. I'll bring it up with her uncle at some point again. I've been meaning to do that for ages. And then special belief, God is dead. I'll bring him back. I will practice my summoning on human ghosts in preparation for his rebirth.
Sounds good.
My instinct, always challenge blasphemy. It's my duty as a priest to impart my knowledge to others, always offer advice or an aphorism, and never ignore a potential sign of the angel's holy machinations, which is a fun one because for folks who are around for Senua's sacrifice specifically, it's been making me think about that quite a lot. So we're going to see some like emphasis on pattern recognition aspect of psychosis or whatever, because clearly this character has some very big problems going on for them.
So we're gonna spend the first hour of the episode watching Miro around squinting at things, trying to open a door.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Basically.
Cool. But yes, I think that's great. Yeah, that's some good thematic stuff to pick up on, and I know you and I have talked about it a little bit already, so I'm excited to see that in the game.
Yeah. And then in terms of traits, I have Believer, Faithful, Gifted, Tonsured, Vested, Zealot, Demented, Mad, Tall, Violent, Pious, Tough, and Fur.
I love ending that lengthy sentence with, and fur. Cool.
It's doing work for me at the moment. I'm into it. Very
So
into it.
where should we begin? I think the most immediate. I meant to ask you also, Agatha. Are you waiting on an amount of time for healing? Do you still have a die that you're missing? Are we tracking days, or is that? Are we good?
I am missing 2 die. I have 2 wound dice.
So you are tracking a missing die. Okay. All right. And it comes back. Did we roll to see how long it comes back, or is it? Oh no!
Yeah, it's going to take the full 3 months.
The full 3 months. Okay. All right. Sure. So by the time spring is here.
No,
Okay.
spring's never going to come because winter's going to last forever because I am so wounded that I won't be able to fix this.
All right. So currently it has been days since injury. 1 days.
A single days.
All right. So yeah, let's the only like immediate event, and then we could kind of jump forward a little while. The only immediate event is the next day at sunset, a gathering of curious nobles, a combination of the morbidly curious and the pious, and some overlapping of the two, of nobles, has gathered at the home of one Oswald, one Uncle Oswald, who has been fervently running about telling people that his nephew has obtained some kind of magical power from God. And so these nobles, I think maybe like a dozen of them, have come to they've come to see either the freak or the miracle, depending on your opinion. And they're currently gathered in the sort of main room. We talked about Uncle Oswald's house as being sort of one room on the bottom, one like larger room, a side room where Oswald sleeps, and then an attic or sort of like crawl spacey type area where Brother Miro lives. Is anyone else there? Because I feel like
I would like to be there.
Yeah, Joy, you were suspect number one on this one because you love a good.
Oh, I love a good anything I can make fun of.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not going to be there in like official capacity. I don't think, like it's not one of those things where you go and like at the behest of someone be there. So I would like to employ for the first time the disguise skill.
Oh shit, Joy's there in disguise.
Yeah.
Damn. Cool.
Yeah,
So,
so
do
I
you
would
show
like
up in pink face?
I would like to disguise myself. And no, that's not how I do it.
Okay.
I was thinking about how do I disguise Joy? And I think what I do is the ink I use for my fingers, I get some of that in my hair for sure because it's all white and like, try and darken it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then just wear stuff that will cover me as much as possible.
Which is easy because the house is drafty and it's the middle of a horrific supernatural winter.
So I've got like a raggedy scarf on that's covering half my face, and like you can see this like black dyed quote unquote like just covered in ink or charcoal
You
or
look
something.
like a chimney sweep or something. So
Yeah,
let's
she just
look
looks
at,
really dirty.
Let's look at the. So you're going to be a bit out of place because this is not a gathering of filthy beggars, but a gathering of nobles. Though they're all bundled up as well.
I have the inconspicuous skill as well.
All
So
right.
in a group of people, I can make myself inconspicuous.
All right. So disguise is the art of changing one's face or appearance to look like another person or ethnicity. You are attempting to You're not trying to. It's not as far as trying to disguise your stock. You're not trying to dress up as a noble. If you're trying to dress up just as like a miscellaneous, like disguise the fact that you're the jester. I think it would be ob 1. And then
Okay.
inconspicuous is a thing that you can absolutely fork into this.
Fork in,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the idea here is if you get what you want, no one will know unless you like reveal it.
No one will know I'm
that,
me.
That you're
Yeah.
you. They might remember a dirty chimney sweep or something.
Oh shit! I've just realized being in this meeting is gonna suck for me.
Right? You have an instinct that's going to interfere
Oh, no.
pretty dramatically with this. So here's the thing. It's going to be ob 1, but because you're Stygian and because there are so few Stygians, I'm gonna put a disadvantage. Yeah, we'll put it at ob 2.
Sure. So my disguise is I only have 2 dice in disguise. So we'll roll that plus 1 for forking in inconspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
Can I fork in falsehood?
No. This is the disguise itself. You're allowed to fork inconspicuous because the purpose of the disguise is to keep you out of sight, not to pretend. You're not trying to like lie to someone about who you are.
I mean, that's fine.
The suggested forks are like acting and theatrics.
Okay, I don't have any of those, so I can't.
Just as an aside, for those of you who are curious, it's ob 10 to disguise the fact that you're a giant spider. Just in case you need to pretend you're not a giant spider. Ob 10.
It's true. I do not succeed.
You do
at
not.
disguising
Okay.
myself.
So you're there out of motley, but it is clear to everyone who
Yeah,
you are.
I'm not wearing my regular green. It's like kind of browns. and
Yeah,
black.
yeah. People will see you out of uniform, and
I think it's one of those things where it's like I definitely look like I tried to not look like me, but I still do. Definitely.
I mean, none of these people have ever seen you out of context, so they probably just think that, like, I don't know, maybe the king sent you here as a spy. Maybe, like, again, you'll have the opportunity to stay inconspicuous, but definitely you are noticed. And I think that's the thing is that someone will remember. People will remember that what happened here today, the fool was present for.
I just want to keep getting disguise check. I need to start getting experience in cool skills like that.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, if you need a challenge, go and just dress up like a giant spider.
I will.
So everyone's in the sort of main room, and Oswald is. I think we see him. And what have you instructed him to do here, Miro? Like, what part does he get to play in this?
He is allowed to show everybody in, be a gracious host, make sure everybody's comfortable. He's allowed to like introduce me because it's his meeting. Then he has to sit there quietly.
Okay. All right. So you're upstairs, right? Like backstage,
Yes.
essentially. All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
So it's not a shack or anything, but it's a fairly humble home. Oswald is a Corvidae, but he's a lesser Corvidae, right? He's somewhere down the line of usefulness to the house. And he doesn't live here. This isn't his home exactly. Like he got stuck here because of circumstance. He would rather be somewhere warm and not cursed. But maybe there's a way to turn this around. So it's a modest home, and it is currently full of nobles. And there's a nervous energy. There's that kind of pre-curtain, like, ooh, I wonder what we're gonna see, like sort of freak show nervousness that everybody has. And I think we see Oswald, and he is holding in his hands a wooden bowl, and he is taking it upon himself to collect offerings from the nobles. I didn't think you'd appreciate that, Miro, but he's doing it anyway. So he's going around asking people, to donate to the cause, in the name of God. And I think the nobles are putting some bits of copper in the bowl and kind of like laughing at him, like, oh look, he's acting like a beggar. How funny. But yeah, he seems unashamed of this behavior. And he comes to you, Joy, holding this bowl with a few coins in it, and he looks at you for a second like he's gonna say something, and then he just kind of like turns.
Yeah, I don't like make a move to offer him anything when he does come by.
Have we ever described Uncle Oswald? Like, have we got a good idea of what he looks like before? I don't
not
really think so. Yeah.
I made fun of him a great deal in the first episode. That's all I
recall
remember.
him being bald, older, bearded, and
yes, he
kind of simpering.
He has
or
adult,
something.
yeah, he has adult children elsewhere, so he does wear a beard. Though he probably just wears it because he thinks it looks good and doesn't realize that it's like a cultural thing here. I imagine him to be, like a man possessed of slightly too much skin. He's like quite jowly. And like perhaps at one point he maybe got sick and lost a bunch of weight, but his skin didn't quite compensate. So he's kind of like jowly and a little saggy, a bit like a melted candle. Lots of liver spots on his bald head. He's a man who has up until fairly recently lived a sort of soft life, but now lives somewhere where that's not quite the case. He's quite out of his element. And so has a nervousness to him, and that's I think what comes out as that sort of simpering thing where he just like is always a little scared, some Carpathian ruffian is gonna come and like steal all his money, and so so we see him kind of moving with the room. And do you say or do anything, Joy, when he gives you this sort of?
I just
look?
smile at him in that absolutely insufferable joy way. That's like, I know exactly what's on your mind, and I want to tell you that you're an idiot, but I don't even have to, because it's fine. That's what I do.
Okay, all right. So he sort of slips away, and you overhear, Joy, I think, a conversation between two nobles next to you. One of them says, "Can you believe he's a Corvidae at all?" And the other says, "I am beginning to believe that anything's possible. I mean, one of them is possessed of religious fervor, and the other," and then the second person is like, "Shh, don't talk about her." And they like look around, and she's like, "I hear she has spies everywhere," and then they kind of just go on like gossiping about the House Corvidae. But yeah, you overhear this little like sort of whispering in the
Noted.
Yeah. All right, so Oswald kind of coughs to get everyone's attention, and then the sort of false stage cough turns into a short and somewhat embarrassing slew of actual coughs, and then as he tucks his handkerchief back into his pocket, he says gathered friends, I know that we have seen some troubles of late, that the land bathed in snow and God's absence has given us all such things to fear. But I thank you for coming today. Each and every one of you is witness to a miracle that I have the honor to have had born in my own home here. And he just like gestures like theatrically. My nephew, Miro, who some of you, I think, know for his fervor, for his unswerving faith in our Lord God, has been blessed by the angels in both spirit and body. And to you, I present him. And he gestures to the wooden stairs that descend from the attic, and sort of, that's your cue, Miro.
Yeah, so I begin walking down the stairs, and I try at first to take in the room, I think. This is a very auspicious occasion, and I would be looking for signs of more of the faithful, I believe, in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
The intention is to single someone out for a later part of the sermon, because I have something I'd like to do.
Okay.
So I'd like to try and somehow observe. I'm not sure what the relevant skill is, but that's the intention.
Okay. So I mean, I think there's an observation skill that you can use here.
Okay.
Let me take a look. Observation is just to spot hidden things. So I think in this case, this is more like perception, because you're not looking for anything hidden necessarily.
Okay. Yeah, I will just do perception, and that is a stat. So,
Okay, and I'm actually having you roll for something else. Like I need this number for another purpose, but I will tell you what you see.
okay. And it's just open ended.
Yeah, because it's perception. Nice.
Fairly perceptive.
You are.
I'm
yeah.
on the game.
And I don't know if you can reroll that 6 because you only have four dice rolled there, and one of them was a 6. Because perception is always, the 6 is always automatically reroll.
Didn't pick the little box.
Yeah, it's okay. Just roll a d6. Oh shit! So perceptive. All right.
4.
Okay, sure. So yeah, you get a good handle on everyone in the room. I would say that I don't know how Miro perceives this, but I will tell Dave. We from an external perspective, we see that most of these people are just here to see like the furred monk. They just want to see something weird. They want a distraction from their lives. They're courtiers, right? Like the king has been sour of late, and they just want to kind of get away from work. I think that maybe there are like two nobles in the whole thing, and you only notice them by one of them is got a religious like icon, like the equivalent of a rosary or something in their hands, and they're like rubbing it while they watch. Everyone's watching you intently, but these two aren't like smiling. They look nervous and not skeptical. Joy, do you make any effort to hide the fact that you're here from Miro?
You know what? Let's try and be inconspicuous. I would prefer not, and I'm more than likely going to reveal myself later anyway. If only by accident. So yeah, for now I'm going to try and, hide behind someone taller than me, for example, or something of that nature.
Okay. All right. So, you're going to go ahead and roll inconspicuous.
What's my ob here?
Yeah, let me see if it's I gotta check if it's against someone, the perception of someone looking for you, because then it'll be
4. Yeah.
4, yeah. It's tested against usually tested against observation, so it's actually ob 2.
Oh, ob 2. Okay.
Yeah, because it's the ob is half because it was a perception.
All right. Well,
test. He's not looking for hidden things.
I have 2, so I do not succeed in being inconspicuous. I assume he sees me.
So yes, Miro, you see, albeit dressed unusually, you see Joy in the crowd. The person, not the emotion. So what do you do, Miro? You have the stage.
I walk down the stairs and I move up to this like makeshift place we've got, and he takes a second and he looks around and he kind of looks up in the ceiling and just kind of takes everything in for a second, then like notices the kind of odd crowd, not what he really expected or wanted. So he starts off with gathered members of God's children. I see today we are gathered with skepticism, perhaps, with interest, not a strong, fervent belief in what is happening here. And I understand this. I am not so wrapped up in my own importance as to be oblivious to the fact that this is a difficult time, a strange time, a time in which many's faith is tested. And as such, I will keep my sermon open-ended. And if there are times that those in the audience wish to ask questions of me, then I would hear them at the end. But until then, I would bid you let me speak on my experience here, on the blessing that I have been granted by God to endure, to thrive in this unnatural winter.
And so the crowd's response so far has just been like either staring at you because you look so strange, and those, like, there are folks who are not hearing anything you're saying. They're just like, whoa, what's up with fur guy? There are a few people who are like trying to hide like laughter.
Joy is one of those people. She's got her chin buried in this like little raggedy scarf that she has, like trying to muffle her mirth.
Yeah, and Oswald isn't even paying attention. He's just counting the coins from the bowl. And yeah, right now it's more spectacle than sermon. You haven't really got their you've got their attention, but you can see them just kind of like, okay, they've seen the talking ape. What, you're gonna have to do the thing to get their attention further. None of them really, aside from maybe the two that you noticed before, are really paying attention to what you're saying.
All right. Well, with the preamble out of the way, and with you all having had an opportunity to look upon me, as I'm sure many of you are interested in doing, there are some things that I would say in regards to this situation that we find ourselves in. In fact, there is an oft used passage in which the saint Jeremiah was granted a vision of a place in which God's grace was no longer found in what many people believe to be what many people believe to be now the oh my god, I've totally forgotten what it's called. Where's Joy from?
Stygia.
When many people believe to be written about Stygia. And I fear that with the recent developments, our beloved home is becoming somewhat similar. There are those whose faith was tested, and they have sadly failed where others have not. There are understand this. However, today I will prove to you that this is not the end for the church, simply the beginning of something new, something that I will do all in my power to herald in, an age where the faithful might thrive, where the others may find the cold embrace of the winter, taking not only their belief and their immortal souls, but their lives, as you have seen the dead fill the streets, where I, my belief true, have been seen fit to be granted this wondrous gift.
So as you're speaking, I think we see one of the nobles, a young man here with a couple of other young men. One of them says, he speaks up and he says, "But the patriarch said God is dead. Who are you to say otherwise?"
I think it's at that exclamation that there's definitely like an audible, actual laugh from my corner of the room. It stifled immediately, but adding to this whole like questions situation.
Yes, suddenly like he speaks up, and then you laugh, and that like breaks the surface tension of the conversation, and suddenly it becomes like just like people are murmuring and talking to each other, and so the tension of the situation like breaks suddenly. And then do you respond, Miro, over the sound of the kind of like murmuring conversation?
Yeah, I was having a look.
Mm-hmm.
I'd quite like to find a trait that will give me. I'm thinking about the thaumaturgy effect of having a booming voice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to give myself one of these.
Right, like a 1-point character trait for the scene.
Yeah, but yeah, there are a lot of traits.
Yeah, I mean, for a character trait, it can be any word, right? So like imperious, loud, like just straight up, you could be loud.
Yeah. Is that really the route I want to go with this?
I mean, if you want to go really intense, Aura of Holiness is a 7-point trait.
7-point trait.
Yeah, Aura of Holiness.
I mean, Aura of Holiness would be like fucking trumpets, halo, like people would just like, there would be no question whatsoever that you are like chosen by God, but it would be like Ob 8 or whatever for your role. So if you know,
Since when was Miro afraid of a role he couldn't actually succeed at?
Yeah. So I think instead of actually casting that, I think like my intention here was actually to give this sermon. I need to make some oratory tests.
Yeah.
I guess the speech before wasn't actually that. It was just a bit of preamble.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me when you're ready to make that test, right? Because this is all lead up, and then the ob will be based on kind of where we're at. But you can just say like, you can just say like, I put on my oration voice and I deliver loudly the sermon. But you may need to like shut them up or like get their attention, or because now there's this murmuring of like, well, great, these are words, and yes, you have fur. I had an uncle with a hunchback and 6 fingers. Like, are we to believe that he's chosen by God as well? Like they don't believe in your holiness. They came here to see the funny monkey, and they've seen it. You're gonna need to be like, no, shut up and pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's another approach. You could also inflict fur on someone else.
I could. I was thinking about that.
You have
but
that
maybe later.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so how would I go about shutting everybody up? The last time I shut somebody up, I set them on fire.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it mundanely, conspicuous, right? If your intent is like get everyone's attention and shut them up, that would be a test you could make to do that. Intimidation also possible.
Let me see which of those is better for me.
I guess here's the thing. So you tell me your intent. Your intent is to get everyone to shut up long enough, like to take you seriously for a minute, right?
Yeah, and then I'll start orating properly.
Okay. So I feel like it's maybe a linked test between conspicuous and then oratory, right?
Yeah,
Make yourself
sounds good.
noticed above all in a scene. Attracting attention to yourself in a crowded room is only ob 1. So let's have you make an ob 1 conspicuous test. if you can get 2 or more successes, it's a +1, and then you can start your oratory. If you fail, you're just going to be like shouting for oratory, but you're going to be shouting over them instead of shouting into silence.
Right. Okay. That's entirely reasonable.
Joy, would you like to aid or interfere? Roll your hex with Miro.
I would only be a problem in this scenario in terms of that I'm creating noise, but like that's it.
Yeah, I think you're just part of the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll do conspicuous.
So none of the content of the actual speech is going to go into this roll. This is just anything that you can leverage to be louder and more like obvious.
Everybody here is tall. Everybody here is like, am I imposing? No, not really. I wouldn't fork intimidation into it probably. Could I fork in stentorious? No, religious diatribe, because I'm used to arguing.
I think that'll go into your next bit.
Okay. All right. Nothing then. We'll just do 3 against odd one.
Okay. Oh yeah, fucking no problem. If you want to throw a fate point at conspicuous, you got 2 6s you can throw in there too.
Yeah, it's advancing towards my goal of doing that, so I will spend a fate point.
Okay. Okay, roll
5,
that 6 again.
6.
Holy God.
6.
Okay.
6 on an odd one.
So you exceed the obstacle easily. What do you do? Like you got what 6 times the successes you needed. So whatever you do, you command the attention of the room hardcore. What do you do? What is it that happens? You're in narrative control of this scene, so.
So Brother Miro at first, I think he gets a little bit anxious. Like, he's not good with people who aren't already taking him seriously, as has been proven like a bunch of times. He's not very good with people, and he's not very confident in himself. So at first he kind of stops, kind of puts his hands together, and begins to like mumble under his breath, just like some prayers. And they kind of get louder, and like something about the voice starts like echoing in the room, even though it's filled with people. And like you can say whether or not this is true, but I think possibly like someone, like another person, probably like starts on the chant as well, like finds themselves like kind of compelled to do it, because it already feels like it's echoing, and they feel like they're church, and maybe it brings them comfort. And suddenly, like, the room has an air
like
of a place of like
you social engineer everybody. I mean, aside from Joy probably, but everyone who's Carpathian certainly, you social engineer them into shutting up by giving them something else to do. Like they start to repeat the prayer and like join in, because that's what you do when someone starts singing this particular hymn. Like, it's meant to be sung in a group. Oh, that's really good. I like that. Yeah. So once the two sort of more pious members of the thing, this is this is totally a social engineering thing. And then suddenly, like they finish, and this, I think that this chant, this hymn, is meant to be it's meant to like leave an empty space at the end, right? Where you can then take advantage of the silence. So after everyone finishes the hymn, they all end on the same kind of harmonized note. There's a quiet in the room. And then you can jump in.
Yeah, I'll make the oratory roll, and then depending on how that goes, we'll see how I act it out, I guess.
Okay, sure.
is this open-ended or is this against a specific DC?
It depends on what your intent is, isn't it? What do you want
Right.
here?
I want to instill some degree of reverence in the people who are here, to transform their like idle curiosity that brought them in here. Instead of just being like, "Oh, we saw the weird man," I want them to leave thinking, "Oh, I saw like Brother Miro, and he gave a speech. Maybe I only went there to laugh at the weird thing." But I actually
You want
some.
to make them believers.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question here is: there's one of two things that could happen. I want to clear up your intent. Do you want to make these people like? I mean, obviously they're full-time nobles, but do you want to make them like part-time disciples of yours? Are you trying to form like a cult, or are you trying to give yourself a reputation as being like chosen by God? Right?
I
Do you want them to
have
leave and be like, you should have seen this thing that I saw? Brother Miro, like you want your words on the lips of these courtiers and to spread your reputation, or do you want these particular people not necessarily to evangelize, but to be like, yes, you are chosen by God. This guy is great. Miro is good. Let's devote some of our time and resources and energy to him.
So I do already have, what is it? I do already have a reputation for being blessed by the angels, which hasn't come up before. So I don't know. How would it interact with that mechanically if I were to say that I wanted to perpetuate that reputation that I have?
I could see it broadening the scope, because right now only like religious people care about that. But you could spread that to the nobility, right? So the nobility of Carpathia, you could apply that to them. This is you going from like random monk that other people in a monastery know about to like starting the Rasputin thing, where you're like, then the nobles will start to be like, oh, Miro can do miracles, right? Miro is chosen by God, like, and then you'll have people coming to you. It'll give you some liquidity in those circles among the nobility.
Okay, yeah, that is what I want. I want to broaden that. That sounds good.
All right, sure. So to get some leverage there, let's say Ob 3. It's the most common will in the room. I think these people are slightly more willful. We'll say Ob 3 oratory test.
Ob 3 oratory. Yeah. Okay. In which case, I would like to fork in. I want to fork in Emperelia for examples of why my fur is something specifically that lends credence to what I'm saying.
Okay, right. That it's a symbol of the angels.
Yep.
Okay, so the angel, the choir of angels, is a part of your oration. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I want to fork in, I think, suasion.
Yeah.
Because
of course,
I'm doing exactly that.
Yep.
And I want to fork in Religious Tribe, especially because I'm winning over a crowd of people who do not share my particular religious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
That takes us up to 1, 2, 3. And I want to. Do I have any traits that could be useful here? No, not really. No, it's just +3, I think. +3 on my base 3.
Okay. So pretty good chances. You get twice as many dice as you need.
Yeah.
Oh, and the extra. Don't forget your extra die. Yeah.
Yep. 4. Oh,
nice. Only just.
I'll take the fate. I'll re-roll on it as well because it's something that I want to. Getting oratory swapped up. Okay, 4. I'll spend that. There we go. And that was a routine test. Oh, I don't need any more routine. That's true.
Okay. So in your oration, you grab the attention of these collected nobles, and Joy, while Miro is speaking, you can see like belief kind of forming on the faces and in the eyes of these nobles that to them, I'll let you decide yourself. Actually, what's your will?
My will is 5.
Right. So it doesn't. You're not convinced.
I think just on principle that God is a ridiculous joke. So
sure.
This is funny for me.
Well, what's interesting here is that Miro is specifically calling on not God but the angels. Right. Everything Miro says is about the courts of the angels gifts to man, those sorts of things, because of that Imperialia element. So yeah, whether the theology part is up to you to interpret, but yeah, you notice that, and you're not necessarily convinced, but you can see everyone else in the room, like kind of eyes glazing over and like looking to each other and nodding knowingly. Miro makes a point, and they like look at each other like yes, I hadn't considered that, and they're looking upon him with more and more, I think, sort of revelatory thought in their mind. So Miro, I don't know. Do you want to tell us about any particular points? Like, how long do you speak, Miro? How long does this go on?
I don't think particularly long, just because he starts to get kind of really do more. I think he's got the audience where he wants them, were he to like kind of ask things of them and do more than just bring up the reputation. But I think he starts to get distracted. I think he starts to see, he begins to notice, I think, things that like maybe don't make any sense. Maybe there's something about the collected people that he begins to notice. Maybe it's like there are 3 people who strikingly resemble those of this particular religious painting that he's seen before.
I was about to say, so from Miro's perspective, yeah, there's this kind of Renaissance painting look to the thing where like almost people are like in tableau, like looking at each other in like religious sort of awe. And yeah, it's feeling like not false, but like part of a mythology that you've studied but aren't necessarily a part of. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. That's cool.
And he eventually stops after making these points, because despite all of his grandiose like ideals, he struggles with the idea that he's like I'm putting myself in this and I don't like deserve it. I'm still like I need to be a beacon of hope for these people, but if I buy into it too much, I might like, what if I become like prideful or something? That would be terrible.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that like they, you finish your speech, and I think by the time your own kind of like inner momentum ceases, they've picked up their own, and they're all kind of like whispering. And they're not like you said, they're not devoted cultists or anything, but they've seen something significant here today, and what they're now most interested in doing is getting home and telling their friends about this thing they saw, right? Spreading that. The myth, right? To be like, I was there, I saw it, because they're still fundamentally nobles and still fundamentally self-serving, but they know they've seen something significant here today.
Yeah, I think like once I like calm down a little bit, I've had my eye on Joy, and it's like, is it obvious to me that you're just like, what is going on? Everybody else is around me.
There's like this collective shared belief among every single other person in the room. Then yeah, it's super obvious because I am just watching. Like,
yeah, you're standing aside. No one is talking to you because they all notice you and they're like, "Oh, don't talk to."
Yeah,
her.
I mean, you specifically called upon some Stygia thing earlier that has like separated me from this group entirely.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I wanna understand. So Dave, when you said that, is that a common belief? Because we know that the kingdoms that share this religion, our settings equivalent of Christendom, is at war with Stygia. Like they have declared a holy war on Stygia. What's happening over there right now, we're not so sure of, because of the whole God died thing. But is it known? Is it a commonly accepted fact that God once cared for and most and beloved of Stygia, but then took his love away for some crime they committed? Like, are we looking at a like Sodom and Gomorrah situation where he was like, "Boo, Stygia, you fucking suck," or
Yeah,
is Stygia like
I
a
mean-
kingdom of pagans?
I mean, I like that idea, but I like the idea that that's a belief perpetrated by non-Stygians. Like,
no, of course.
Stygians don't believe
Well,
that.
sure. Well, Stygia, like they have their own worship, but we've never, like, I don't think Stygia has like gods in the same sense. I think it's like ancestor worship and
I
powerful.
mean, in the very first episode, I made up a bunch of stuff about there being like 1,000 gods
Yeah.
of Stygia.
Right.
However true that is, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's not the same ubiquitous one god thing.
I definitely like the idea of there being a narrative, a tripartite narrative of there are pagans in the world of whom we know like Agatha belongs, and the ideas of spirit binding, that's a pagan system. And then there's God, or there was, and there's the kingdoms that believe or believed in God. And then there's Stygia, and I love this new detail that at least among sort of the
I mean, it could be a Carpathian thing, like a pious Carpathian thing that like God withdrew their love from Stygia,
Well,
and as such.
so Dave, you have, what is it, obscure history?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so it's probably among, we all know that God doesn't love Stygia, and that the Stygians do not love God as they should.
Okay.
I think there's probably references in some apocryphal texts. There's a bunch of like religious texts that intimate that an ancient land that was cursed by God in the myths, right? Like an Atlantis or a Mu or whatever, right? Where it was like, and the kingdom
Right.
of Floor was like, God did
Exactly.
turn his face against them, for they are evil. And it's meant to be a parable to some people, but there are scholars in obscure history who are like,
Exactly.
I believe
say.
that the kingdom that God turned his face from is in reality Stygia, and that's why Stygia is so bad, and that's why we have to be at war with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
was
it's
gonna
a great
say
justification.
this.
There you
I
go.
don't want to, I don't want to posit that it was the place, but absolutely just ad bellum for, holy war against this country. Absolutely.
I mean,
As a
exactly.
church.
It creates a situation where you can say like, and that's why we kill them. You know.
Yeah, well, and I don't think that everyone knows this or thinks this way. I think it is definitely like a piece of obscure history where people say like, yeah, Stygia must be the like Gomorrah of old, right? Like it's called by a different name. Stygians obviously are like, no, we're our own thing. We have our own culture that we're not your cast-offs.
And that has been the true history, so to speak. Like it's its own thing. But this is what people think about their own thing. Like they have this story of a cast-off city somewhere, and they have to assign it to something. So they picked Stygia as like the most likely place, right?
Sure.
Like,
Well, and there's
Right.
lots of like evidence, right? Like the book speaks of towers of ivory, and we've all we've seen tales coming back from the Crusades of these white stone towers they have in Stygia, like that kind of thing. Like people have drawn parallels. Yeah, I dig.
yeah.
I dig.
Cool. All right. Cool.
Okay, so anyway,
yeah.
there's this kind of like dimming, this fading of the characters in the background, and Miro and Joy, you spot each other across the room.
I mean, I have been watching this whole time as an audience member. So I mean, if you look directly at me, it's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Where were we? So you look at me and go.
And I say, it is evident from the look on your face, Jester, that you came here expecting this to be what? Evidence of no, hang on. Let me read it. You were looking for ammunition, perhaps, against the church already faltering. You were looking for a new joke to bring up in court. But I think you can see that I take myself and my mission here incredibly seriously, and as much as they also wanted to share in your mirth at my gifts I've been granted, the people of this place can in fact respect and understand that a miracle's been done here.
So I don't think I can talk over the crowd back at you, like, because they're talking to each other, right? There's this sort of sound.
Well, they've broken up. There's this combination of like they've broken up into the social groups that they came in, and are sort of reinforcing one another and being like, "Ooh, I'm so glad we came. Like we have to tell everybody what we saw." And then there's that weird shared thing where now they're like kind of like making connections where they've shared this experience of having seen this sermon.
Okay.
But they're really not paying much attention to any attention.
I'd like to have a conversation with you. That's the intention here. I'd like to start.
And I mean, I think as soon as you sort of like call me out across the room, I walk up towards where the stage is and like stand in front of it and look up at you. And I say, if you think that I need to come here and listen to you speak to have more ammunition against a church of a God who is dead for all intents and purposes, then you're very mistaken. I'm here because I was bored. And you're funny.
He does a kind of a slow nod, and like being above you, he maybe, like to fix the height difference between me being on the like stage, he kind of like slowly like kneels down so he can like look at you and talk to you. And it must be exhausting, Joy, to only be able to see the world in terms of humor and to think everything is a joke. Do you not get tired not having a foundation, not having things to believe in, not having... And yeah, he kind of like trails off. It's just kind of like it's like a boring.
And my response to that is a simple folding of my hands, in a matter-of-fact kind of way. And then I say, in my experience, if you don't laugh, you cry. So I find it much easier to smile.
Oh, Joy, it is not... I do not wish to make you cry. I do not wish this situation to be difficult for you. It is for everyone, and there is no reason that the place from which your parents came should mean that you cannot yourself become a child of God. I know what you will say, that he no longer has place here. But do you not think what you have seen today is at least some evidence of his continued works? It is not too late for you. There is something here that you can join with.
Priest, is there anything that you say that doesn't sound like you're trying to convince me of your holiness? Everything you say is a speech. Everything you say is like you're talking to a crowd of thousands. I'm one person. Oh, and if you talk about my parents again, I will not be happy.
I'm sorry. It was... I take it Joy is not your true and given name.
No, it's not. But it is what I am now and here and what I bring. So it is.
So I have a question. I have a question for you, Joy. You can see that Miro is like you're not dumb. Your jam is like reading a room, right? And you can see that Miro is not great one-on-one, but is doing a good job with these nobles, and that his influence is going to spread. You can't see where that might go, but you can see that it's happening. Has it considered? Have you considered at all that Miro, given the right nudge in the right direction, might be useful to, say, leverage against the Magus?
I was just getting there.
Excellent.
Don't worry, we're working on it. I just got to lay the groundwork of I'm not your bitch like I am everybody else is these days. So sorry, Dave. I think you were saying something.
Yeah, it was just well then, if that is what you would have me call you, Joy, I do not wish to speak to you as a better, for I do not view myself as such. I view myself as lucky to be blessed in the way that I have been, but still know that my purpose is to share this good fortune with others, and I would share it with you. Were you open to listening?
You are one of very few people who even deigns to pretend not to be my better. Not that I believe you, but here's a question. You still think the church is an almighty edifice, I assume, being a priest and all. How do you feel
He kind of
about...
holds up a hand, shakes his head.
Mm.
No. The church is perhaps a relic of a faith no longer pertinent exactly to our situation. But please continue.
How do you feel about the fact that our dear king has adopted so many of these heathen users of magic into his court?
I trust you are speaking of the witch Agatha?
Oh no, she's the lesser of many evils in that place. If she is the target of your ire, then you're only approaching the obvious devil in the room, so to speak. The one with his snake's tongue in the ear of our king is the Magus Alexei Diptera. Everything he says reaches the king. Everything he says the king listens to. I'm sure that half the servants in that place are his servants as well. I speak from experience.
Yeah, Miro looks concerned. He says, and you believe that the words of this Magus are those of a non-believer, he who would force the king's path away from the light of God?
Light of God. Oh, Miro, no. I don't give a shit about the light of God. That's irrelevant to me.
Like
What-
you're just two instincts just smashing into each other.
What I care about is that he is taking that place, that rulership from the king by proxy. And I don't think that you can do that kind of thing without consorting with some very, very bad people, demons, magic. I don't really know the specifics.
So what you're trying, it sounds like what Joy is trying to do is put the idea, you're trying to incept the idea into Miro that Magus Diptera might be a devil worshiper.
Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
All right. Cool.
Because I know that he believes in the light of God.
No, totally. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Dave, does that sound like something that Joy could do? Like is that a thing that could be possible?
No, I think she would need to make some concessions as to taking me seriously in my attempts to like comfort her, which she's just.
I'm not so much asking about like she's planting a seed here because it doesn't sound like Joy cares what you think about her.
No.
She's just kind of giving you some information. Yeah, she's just trying to like enlighten you about this.
I'm just passing the notes along.
I mean, it's totally up to you to decide what you want to do, but I'm wondering if that's possible for Joy to do. This is a classic Joy ugly truth situation, right? Except I guess it's a lie.
Yeah.
Or like it might be, you don't know.
I don't know.
It's a persuasion check is what it
Is
is.
it possible?
You know, I mean, you're not being convinced of anything, and she's not asking you to do anything. So I think I'm just gonna get Joy to roll.
What am I rolling?
And the success on the roll here would be, if Joy succeeds, you can believe what you want, but there's a doubt, there's a suspicion, in your mind, Miro, and you can do with it what you want.
That seems fine. I'm
There can
willing
be
to
another
concede.
thing that happens here, but that's where we start.
Wow, what am I rolling?
I don't know. Let's talk about it as a group because I could
mean-
use some help here because I don't. It's not.
I'm
ugly
not
truth.
I'm not trying to convince though either.
No, it's not ugly truth.
Could it be a falsehood roll? Because I'm just making some shit up
You are just bullshitting.
to get them to believe me.
Right.
That's it.
I mean,
And
you're
it's not
playing-
entirely false because there is magic involved, but I'm adding in demons. You know, I'm just like adding that little detail.
What's happening here is that you're lying, but it could be a lie that maybe ends up true. You don't really know or care about the truth. It's believable, I guess, because no one really likes him, and his house is kind of like weird, and
Definitely sounds like falsehood.
it sounds like falsehood. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's your will, Miro?
My will is 6.
Oh, look, another
Jesus.
fucking impossible goddamn social roll. Okay.
So here's the thing. You're just trying to apply. I think if you fail, Miro, you're gonna see this how you want, but I'm gonna suggest that maybe it's seen less as I'm bringing you this information and more like I'm desperate and I need a friend and maybe I need you to just believe me. Like you're gonna see it as a sign of it's pitiable.
Yeah. It totally is. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
All right, let's have you make that roll, and we'll see. Enjoy your will
Sure.
test.
I love that my ability to lie to Miro is half again as difficult as Miro's ability to convince an entire crowd that he's gifted by God.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious,
No.
right? These crowd's a bunch of gullible suckers. So you're, you'll get to make this roll again if you have some proof or you orchestrate some.
Yeah.
But for now, just saying it, people are used to you shit talking. So now you actually have falsehood, right? So that's
I
that's
do.
good.
Except I already have a challenging, so it's
Yeah.
pointless.
So do you want to? You're a long way from. You need to roll 4 6s in a row if you want to open or spend that. fate point.
yeah, forget it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I think that this is just typical. It's typical behavior, Miro. Right? You just see Joy trying to like make someone look bad, and you can interpret it how you want. I want to give Miro an opportunity. Miro, if there's something you want to do, if there's a role you want to make to convince Joy of something, I want to give you the opportunity to do it, and then we should take a break. So you kind of have the momentum of the situation, Miro. Let's close out the scene. What do you do?
Is it at all possible? Would it be at all possible for Miro to convince Joy that he doesn't see himself as better than her? That's all he's been trying to do this whole time.
Nice.
Very earliest, like, because he believes it. He believes that he should spread this
We're
to
all
people.
God's children, right? Even if God's dead, that doesn't. Oh wow, that's actually a really good
Like,
reversal.
no person who respects you.
Yeah,
like,
I guess it's
in the
possible. I guess it's possible, but you couldn't do it with anything religious. Like any ability that has anything to do with God or angels or religion or the divine right of whatever, you'd never get to her because she just has been mistreated by religion
Okay.
for her entire life.
So again, the same thing. I think that Dave, you're certainly allowed to roll. I think
Yeah.
that the ob is more like I could see being, because you do have an instinct about it. I could see the ob being bumped up by 1. You have a disadvantage. But I think that the content could be superseded by the speech could be superseded by the content, right? That even if Miro uses a paradigm of religion, you might be able to sense his truth through it. It's just an obstacle, not an advantage.
But I don't think so, because if you're trying to get me to believe that you're not my better through use of suasion, like I just don't see Joy believing it. Like,
well, it's a story, it's a parable, right? It's not like. I think the thing is here is you don't get to decide whether you you can't just say no to this, I guess is the thing.
All right, we'll make the roll then.
But you can. It's like being turned on in Monster Hearts. Like your character will feel it. Like, oh, maybe he's telling the truth. But it's up to you to act. You could be like, maybe he's telling the truth, but he's an idiot and a monk, and like, I don't know. I'm not gonna gonna act on that. But the seed can be planted. Dave's not asking you to behave any differently.
I'll try. I'll try to bear that in mind, because I understand that's very important for your character. That the direct appeals, like if I say God in the sentence or anything.
Well, I think if you fail, this is how you learn this, right?
Yeah.
So if you fail, it's going to become clear to you, Miro, that the only tools you have for convincing people will not work on Joy, and you will need further evidence or to take an action that proves it. You're both doing the exact same thing to each other, and you may just both fail. But if you succeed, Joy, you don't have to do anything about it, but it occurs to you that it may be true that Miro doesn't. Maybe he's an idiot for thinking it, but because of his teaching and because of his beliefs, maybe Miro does actually see you as an equal.
Okay, so my will is 5.
Okay.
Plus 1, I guess.
Right. So the will is effectively 6 for this.
Yeah.
And Dave, you want to use suasion?
Yes. Yeah. Let me just check. 5. Difficult.
I love Joy. While you're throwing that out, I love Joy's tension between, like, your will is quite good because you're used to being like beat on and shoved around, but your steel is bad. I love that
my
contrast.
steel is bad because I'm not a fighter, and like everything has proven to me that getting beat up sucks, basically.
Yeah. Well, and also you're too strong to be simply like bullied with words, but once someone brings out the whip.
Yeah, I have a high will because I've been making 7 billion impossible social rolls, so my will is going up.
Yeah.
Can I fork anything in, or is it just 5 and 5?
Suasion, you can fork soothing platitudes, falsehood. Yeah.
Lying to her is not a good way to get her to trust you, but
Yeah, I think it's just suasion here, right? You're using the religious angle, so it's 5 on 6, unless you have any other suggested forks. But I think in this case, you probably don't. Do you want to use a persona, get an extra point?
I was about to say it's important to me as a player to try and get more involved with yours. So I'm going to spend a persona for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put that in as 1 Arthur.
1 Arthur, yeah. 1 Arthur die. And then you'll get a chance to roll any 6s again if you get any. All right, here we go. This is going to be significant.
E6.
Oh, shit! All right, it's 5 successes. 5 successes on 6 dice, and 3 of them are 6s. I'm assuming you're spending that fate for the reroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I got the 1! Yes!
Oh, man.
Oh, what?
That's tense. All right. So...
But it represents so much of, I think, your core character's beliefs, like, that it's this difficult. It's just like someone actually...
I mean, she's a slave for 90% of her life. Like, she believes everybody is her better, basically.
So yeah, I think that. So Joy, you can react however you want to this, right? You can just scoff and be like, "Shut up, priest," and leave. But somewhere inside you believe Miro. That Miro is actually, all the other religious bullshit notwithstanding, in his heart of hearts, Miro believes that the two of you are on a level playing field, and that he respects you as a human being, if not any other way.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, right. I love that. Malakariel mentioned this. maybe you see Miro as a slave in the same way that you were, right? Miro is just a slave to different things, and that puts maybe this isn't about you being uplifted, but Miro being dragged down to your level.
Yeah, that's probably more likely, to be honest.
So how does Joy respond to this? And then we'll close out the scene.
Yeah, we're well over.
We're well over, but yeah, what happens?
I think it's basically. I feel so shitty about this. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hate it, but I think it's one of those things where, you know, she looks at Miro and it's like, this is the kind of person looking at him who you can see is different and weird and fucked up. And she has felt like that forever because there are how many Stygians in this goddamn city? Not very many, certainly. So it's that same sort of like, you will forever be known as this thing that people see when you walk by that is always and only the thing that you are. And that sucks for you. And I get it, you know, and I understand that it sucks because hiding is hard. And being different is hard.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I love that like seeing yourself in Miro and feeling bad for Miro because of it. Not like you and I are similar. I feel like bonded to you. It's just like, oh, you're just like me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what does that look like externally for Joy?
I think she I think she I don't I think she reaches out a hand to Miro and just, you know, if he takes her hand back, she just like pats it with the other hand and then lets go. And in her like very blasé kind of way, maybe masking the real emotion behind it, goes, it's hard life. Have fun.
Right, and you turn to leave, and I think that Miro, like, you know, it worked, right? You know that Joy believes what you said, that you were able to express yourself in a way that, that was true. But yeah, maybe. And
I think the end of that scene is like Joy pushing this wooden door of this place open out into like the cold and pulling this scarf closer around her as like all these other nobles are talking and there's like that lamplight and the white snow outside.
Mm-hmm. And for a moment, Miro, before the nobles come to like, you know, excitedly like talk to you and reinforce the things that you said, we see you look at your hands where you touch Joy and you have the like Stygian, like the ink in your fur, right? And you like have it on your hands. Whew. Good work, team. Nice scene. I feel sad and depressed and also excited.
Yeah.
It's good. That's really good stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right, everybody. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more Burning Wheel. Let's all take a break to collect ourselves, and then we will catch up with Elisandra and Agatha when we get back. Don't go anywhere.